should I not read that? I was thinking about just letting the music just play out forever. Have an hour and a half of this kind of music.
Dance party for Extreme Health Radio.
I know, right?
Wouldn't that be weird?
That would not be.
That would be bizarre.
Our podcast wouldn't be very popular.
No, especially since it's not really dance music at all.
Yeah.
It's more radio intro music.
More radio intro music. Well, we got a fun show today, don't we? We got lots to get to.
We do. Before we do, I want to ask you what the deal is with this sphere of liquid here on your studio desk. It's a new addition to our family.
I prefer to call it our studio desk, but if
our studio
desk, that is a lava lamp straight out of 1972.
You've wanted one of those forever.
I know, I love it.
Why do you like them so much?
Because they're pretty. I just like how the wax inside, it's just sort of mesmerizing. It's kind of melodic. Like it just kind of, I'm just so curious about things, and the way it moves at night is so interesting to me. And it's kind of like just staring at a fish tank forever. I have to say, I used to think you were just crazy for wanting one. I thought it was funny you had one on your wish list, and then when we made an Amazon order last week, you were like, this is it. It's time to get that lava lamp. They're not that expensive. No, but like $30.
And I thought, wow, for $30 you can have all this fun. And I agree. At night, when we do the sauna at nighttime, it is kind of mesmerizing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's cool. If I was thinking the other day, if I was trapped in a jail cell and I had no other choice but to look at this thing, I could just look at it for hours and days. It's
a little extreme.
A little extreme.
But that's what Extreme Health Radio is all about. I feel like last night was really a weird, interesting thing, though. The wax is like, it takes a couple hours, it seems like, every time you plug it in over the last few days to get going and to actually start like making these cool shapes and stuff.
It does.
So last night when I was doing the sauna and you were on the rebounder and we were watching... What were we watching? Oh, some 9/11 documentary. That was great.
Yeah, 9/11 documentary about, it's called Psy Opera. We'll put a link in the show notes. And it was a 9/11 documentary that talks about the fact or the theory that there were no planes that flew into the building.
Do-do-do-do.
Cue the Star Trek music.
Wow. I'm sure we've talked about that at some point on the show, but yeah.
4-hour documentary, highly recommended. We'll put it in the show notes.
I have to say it's a little weird, though. The guy busts into some song that is just bizarre, but the content itself is amazing. Yeah,
he could. I think he could cut out his musical endeavors and his hopes for perhaps a record contract.
Yeah, maybe the word opera shouldn't exist in it, but it wasn't my favorite, the record contract. Anyway, the lava lamp, the way that it was starting to form, looked like this giant hand. It's blue liquid when the wax starts to get all funky, it's green. It forms into this giant hand, and it was just giving me the finger. Really? So I'm staring at it, and it was just like, give me the giant bird. Flip me the bird. It was hilarious. And I looked over, and I felt like I was in science, like in junior high or high school, with like these things that were like, like when they had like, there's somebody's intestines in that liquid floating around, and they have everything labeled. I kind of looked over, and for a minute, it kind of scared me. I thought it was actually someone's hand, like some creepy haunted house hand. And then it like became and I'm like, that's rude. And then it was like that for like 10 minutes, and then it morphed into something else. It was funny. Yeah,
it takes a while for it to heat up. It takes a few hours, actually, to get hot enough to where the
it's really
wax
doing
inside
something.
is like liquid. And but it's pretty cool.
I'm embracing it.
Yeah?
I think it adds to our studio. I like it.
It's cool.
It's cool.
It kind of reminds me of like the mysteries of the universe, or it kind of makes it more, I don't know, this is a very odd thing.
Yeah,
I like it.
I dig it.
That's cool.
Good call. Okay, I'll let you start the show now. I just think it's fascinating over here. I'm sitting right by it, so I had to mention it.
There you go. All right, so this is episode 381 of Extreme Health Radio. We're going to take show notes for you. Kate is. And if you are interested in the show notes, you can grab those at extremehealthradio.com/381. And I also want to let you guys know, too, of the fact that you can join our newsletter list, never miss a show, and also get all kinds of really great bonuses if you text the word Get Healthy to 33444. Get Healthy to 33444, and you'll get a great audio program that I put together on how I overcame my food addictions when I was first changing my diet. Really a simple approach, but it worked amazingly well for me. And you also get a great ebook called Lessons from the Miracle Doctors. It sells for $20 on Amazon. So you can either buy it on Amazon or we'll send it to you for free. And if you text Get Healthy to 33444. I also want to let everyone know, too, that the Depression Sessions Summit is available, and it's going on as we speak from June 14th to June 27th by our good friend Sean Croxton, who was on episode number, I think, 13 or 14. We'll put a link to his stuff. He's a great guy down in San Diego, and we spent some time with him.
We met him for a paleo meal one time, didn't we?
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Cool guy. And he's doing the Depression Sessions Summit, and really, really interesting stuff they're putting together. And it's all available for free as long as you register. And then the other cool one is the Future of Healing Summit that's going on right now, too. If you go to extremehealthradio.com/future of healing, and you can get access to everything for free. It's really cool. They've got eating psychology on here. They've got a bunch of people. And then they've got Nutrition at the Edge. They've got Dr. Mark Hyman, John Gabriel. And then they've got Culture and Transformation. And our main man, Daniel Vitalis, is on that one.
Nice.
Along with Amish Shah. I really like him. He's a internet marketer turned ancient civilization turned health guy. He is
quite a what's the word, journey?
Yeah, he's into meditation. He's into ancient civilizations. He's into peak performance and health. But he started out doing internet marketing. Cool guy.
I've heard some of his interviews on YouTube. He's pretty great.
And get this, the new sexuality.
What?
Uh-oh.
That's a summit?
No, this is a section of the summit.
Oh.
Oh, wow, they have Montauk Chia in here. Nice.
On this Future of Healing Summit?
Yeah, wow. This is really cool. Sarah Gottfried's going to be in that section.
Her.
She's cool. Planetary Healing, you got Nick Pelosi. I need to get back. In fact, I need to get back to him. He called me. I need to.
Oh, gosh, he did.
I need to call him back. David Wolf.
Nice.
Michael Green, John Robbins. And then they have Supplements, Herbs, and Medicinals. Udo Erasmus. Reed Davis. Oh, Reed Davis is in there. Cool.
Nice.
Spiritual Awakening.
Ooh, nice.
Hey, they have Sean Korn. Is that how you say her name?
Oh, yeah, the yoga.
Sean Korn?
Sean Korn.
Seane.
That's right.
She's got the world's best hair.
Oh, my gosh.
If I could have a third of her hair.
And the world's coolest eyebrow.
Yeah, she does.
On all the documentaries I've ever seen her interviewed on, she has a slash like through one of her eyebrows. It's like just this missing part. I don't know if it's fashion or if it's like she was born with, or she got a scar, but it's cool looking.
Yeah,
that girl's cool.
Yeah, she's under Spiritual Awakening, and then they have Great Minds, Possible Futures. Bruce Lipton. They've got some cool people in this thing.
Wow.
Really cool. So, yeah, that's called the Future of Healing Conference, and you can get that at extremehealthradio.com/future of healing. And any other things to
any other
mention? Housekeeping? Oh, I want to say this show is brought to you by our friends at Bellicon Rebounders. An amazing tool that we use every single day, and it's amazing because it's a unique exercise. It's not really you can't really do the types of exercises in any other location, like at a gym or something, because it's allowing your body to go through the G-force, and it strengthens your bones, increases your lymphatic flow, so it detoxifies your lymph system. Incredible for cancer prevention and better circulation, and it's a cardiovascular workout. It's an incredible tool. And those, if you want to grab one, are at extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. And so, yeah, I think that's it, right?
Nice.
Got a lot to get to.
Do you think so?
Yeah, let's see here. If there's any other things to get to here, I think that's about it.
Well, we have a show for you.
Yeah, we got lots of emails to get to, lots of articles to get to. Hey, did you see that one from our friend Freely?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Banana girl.
Is it right to call her a friend?
Sure.
Or is that
might be a little sarcastic, but yeah, what's up with that girl?
We'll put a link to this thing that she did. I hate to give her any
credit.
Yeah, any credit or any publicity.
But it's just too weird. You kind of have to.
So her
yeah, what's her deal? I'd never heard of her until like a year ago. You claim that she's been around for a while. These banana people.
Deal?
What is her deal?
Yeah, no, 30 bananas a day.
Okay,
is the diet that they're currently on. No, but they're vegans and they're very, very passionate and adamant that everybody else should be vegan, and that's sort of what happens when people sort of isolate themselves and become completely polarized. I think she's eating too much fruit. It's getting to her head.
You think the fruit's made her crazy?
I mean,
her rant is a bit odd on the YouTube.
She basically says that people should.
It's just a little extreme.
Should people live who are not who eat meat?
Yeah.
Should people be allowed to live? Should they deserve? Do they deserve to live if they're not vegans?
It's a little intense.
It's not weird.
It's a little intense. It does seem like the fruit went to her brain a little bit.
Do you think that she really means that, or do you think that she's looking for publicity and trying to?
God knows. I don't know.
I mean, is she going to be the one to carry out the mass extinction of 98% of the population of the planet Earth? Is
first
she going
of all,
to be
that's
the one
not even possible.
shooting people?
I know. Yeah, because that's spiritually evolved.
Yeah, that's very awakened.
If you can't love animals, but you're hating people who don't love animals, or you're hating people who eat even sustainably grown and cared for animals, that's not loving. It almost feels like there's that rage. You see this like bitter, rageful person in that video.
It almost seems, well, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I don't like in the video. It is disturbing, I'll just warn everybody. You see what they, a lot of people, how the animals are treated. They show pictures and things like that, and it is hard to watch. It makes me sick, but and I know that happens. It's one thing to like bury your head in the sand and pretend like it doesn't, because I know it does, and it's good to be aware of. But that's why we choose to, support the non-factory farmed animal products that we do consume. And I still feel somewhat bad about that, because we got an email, was it a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yeah.
About spirituality. It was so good.
Was that on Facebook? Where was that email?
No, that was an email to us. The title was Spirituality. If you look that up, does it come up?
Yeah, let me try to bring that up. That's a good point. Good thinking on bringing that email. I forgot to bring that into today's notes. Yeah,
because I thought, I really do struggle with that myself. Like this question we'll read in a minute from one of our listeners. It was a great question about spirituality and consuming animal products. I've mentioned this in the show before, I don't like the fact that I seem to do better. My body seems to be healing a little bit better on animal products.
You don't like
right
that?
Now. I don't like it. It makes me sad. I love animals more than, just as much as anybody else who has dogs and cats, and we care for animals, and it just makes me sick that, an animal had to lose its life for me to heal. At the same time, when I have gone raw or dabbled in other ways of healing, my body just, at this point in time, does not do well with tons of raw vegetables and fruit, and I actually feel worse. And I'm unfortunately so compromised right now with methylation and sulfation and certain issues that I can't live off of nuts and seeds, and until my body is completely healed, maybe then that's more of a ideal diet, and I would love to not harm any animals in the way that I live on this planet, but to say that someone is undeserving to live, or questioning human I don't know,
Yeah, it's. I don't know what
that's just a little harsh and a little crazy.
What causes people to be so extreme? Why do they feel like they have to push their sort of dogmatic, very isolated worldview on everyone else?
Yeah, I know.
It's I can't find that guy's email.
Oh, bummer.
It was a guy that wrote us about this, right?
Yeah.
What other words were in that email? Do you remember?
I don't know. I'll try to find it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's very polarizing. It's people get into these kicks where they feel like their lifestyle should be sort of put on everybody else, and I just find it very just strange and bizarre that you would even ask the question: Is do people deserve to live as if she's some sort of ultimate final say in whether or not the masses of billions of people that live on the planet, some girl from Australia is going to be the ultimate judge and jury over whether or not someone lives or dies because they eat meat. I mean,
that's just weird.
It's just very strange, and I think that I think it's very, very important to have some self-awareness and understand that how you're coming across to people and what the food you're eating is doing to you, and trying to be aware of how you're impacting the earth. And that's her whole thing is according to her, eating meat is extremely damaging to the earth, and it's causing the earth all these planetary wars and all this lack of resources and all this stuff. And her solution is to eradicate,
kill everybody.
Is to kill everyone who eats meat, and then all of a sudden the planet's going to be better. I mean, it's a very simplistic worldview, and it's very, very strange, bizarre. And I think that it goes sort of along it fits the lifestyle of someone who would eat that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's in a very imbalanced way. Did you find the email?
I did find it.
Yeah, it's a very imbalanced way of looking at the world, and it goes along with a very imbalanced way of eating, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so does she actually eat 30 bananas a day? I mean, she's eating other fruit for sure. She's like a fruitarian, like an extreme fruitarian, right?
Yeah, only fruit. But I saw the video recently where she was cooking up zucchini. Oh. I thought she didn't do any cooked food either.
Okay.
But... I don't know. See, I think, these are the type of things. It's like you become so attached. Like, what were you saying earlier? How people like that sort of identify more with being vegan than actually being vegan?
Well, yeah, I feel like it's like we mentioned in a couple, maybe it's our last Free for All Friday show, I'm not sure about it, but it was about how you become so focused on what you can and can't do, what you can and can't eat. It becomes so much about this food and these rules that it's basically like you're trying to do these things originally. You get into it to heal so that you feel like you can go live your life. Right. Well, then that becomes your life.
Right.
And then you don't really have a life because you're so dogmatic and crazy about what you're eating. The eating and the style around eating, it's like a branding of yourself. Mm-hmm. You become this new way of being to yourself and then to other people that you're labeled as that you kind of just can't live life. It just becomes, that is your new life and your new identity. And I just think it's kind of trippy.
And I think there's so much I think that was a really good point, because like you said, you get wrapped up, you think you become the thing that you're sort of making a stand for or against. It's really strange. Like you get, like the people who are, what was that march, not March Against Monsanto, but it was the recent protest they had in LA and all the major cities about the corporate banking and all that. What was that called?
Oh, Occupy?
Occupy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get so wrapped up with being a member of this, or you're a libertarian or whatever, and you sort of lose sight of the bigger picture of why we're here on the earth, what our goals are, what our our planetary impact is, and you start your whole thing becomes food and what you're eating. And I mean, it's funny because with us, we don't really talk about food, I mean, and health as much as you would think. If you were to spend some time with us during the day, I mean, we're talking about reptilians and politics and
conspiracies and theories and self improvement, spiritual growth.
We're rarely talking about food.
We're really not. I mean, we like food, and when we're eating, we're happy to be eating food. But yes, because I get so sick of it's like anything. I just get sick of talking about it. It's like banging my head up against the same wall.
Imagine if you were her in vegan.
Oh, I know. I know.
Trying to get everyone else to be a raw vegan, fruitarian.
Well, I feel like it becomes a disorder. I mean, whether you actually have an eating disorder like a bulimia or an anorexia type thing, I feel like almost people that are so... I had a friend a while ago, I'm not currently friends with at this time, unfortunately, but she was so... It used to bother me to go out to eat with her because of... I knew she had a very, almost like a body dysmorphia. She had a very unhealthy relationship about how she viewed herself. And it would show up it reflected so strongly in the way she would eat and the way she would order her food. And then she'd kind of scattered around her plate, and she'd feel guilt. And then it's like she'd end up eating the whole thing, but she started out and she'd order very healthy things. Wow. And even that was just like painful to watch her consume this, because you know in her head she was just like adding up calories and fats, and she just didn't understand what real health was. And it just made me so sad, but it also frustrated the heck out of me, because I thought, this is actually like, this is a disorder. This is not normal. This is a very unhealthy way of viewing the world, and the way you view yourself, and the way you think the world views you, all through food. And it was this control thing. It was like she couldn't control anything else in her life, so she would be damned if she didn't control the one thing she thought she could, which was her choices. And
maybe that's part of it too. These
it just seemed really frustrating.
Feel like they have to have some sort of control.
Probably.
Maybe they feel a lack of control in their life, and so that is the one thing they can control.
I mean, we all do it. I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm the first person to say I'm sure I do it in many ways, but it's just really sad when you see it, especially when it just comes to food. It's people and food. Okay, so we got this email from Dave.
People and food.
People and food. Anyway.
Just so happens to be what our whole website is about.
I know.
That's awesome.
But we're trying to, what we're trying to do is we're trying to empower people to get better and feel better and make better choices, so that becomes like a sidebar of their life.
They move beyond.
The main screen can be like, hey, what do you really like? Do you love being in nature? Do you love hiking? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to go volunteer your time helping animals and adopting out puppies or raising babies? Like, what is it that you want to do? Like,
food can help you get there.
Food can help you get there, but it's not the destination.
Unless someone wants to be a chef or something
great.
like that. That's cool.
Or nutritionist, or you want to work. Yeah, a dietitian, fine. Like, that's great if you want to spend your life working around food, but to me, it's just like the main spotlight should focus on, what is that? Find that passion.
The whole world needs to be vegan.
And then fuel yourself to go.
Yeah.
The whole world needs to eat bananas. Only.
30 a day.
So here's this email from Dave. Hi, Justin and Kate. My wife and I love your show and have learned a great deal. In fact, as a result of listening to your show, we have purchased the infrared sauna, rebounder, and Qigong program, which you have featured on your shows. That's cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
you got the Qigong and the sauna?
Yeah.
Nice.
These people are serious about their health. That's cool.
I got to talk about this. I've been doing the Qigong every day.
I know you have. I've kind of been slagging. I do have a question which I wanted to ask of anyone who speaks of a journey towards spirituality. It's obvious that both of you have undertaken such a journey, but I'm wondering if you think it's possible to honestly undertake such a quest while at the same time being involved in consuming animals. Of course, my concept of spirituality may differ from yours, but to me, a big part of the process includes a reverence of all nature, including animals. I'd be very interesting to know your thoughts. Thanks again for your great shows.
Nice. Who's that?
Dave.
Nice.
Oh, gosh. When I read that, I was like, it was really good because it made me think, It really made me think. I want to say I agree with him because, again, I don't like harming animals and I don't even like consuming animal products. It bums me out. But I don't know. Personally, like I said earlier, I feel like when you're in a healing state and those things are really healing for you in small amounts. So
my question would be, at what point do we even get to make that decision? So if someone is sick with something and they've done a raw vegan diet, and see, it depends whether or not someone's sick or someone is actually just sort of maintaining their health. And I don't think that eating meat or animal products is good or better than not eating it, or not eating is better than animal. I think it comes down to what you're comfortable with. And I think that if someone feels sick and they feel intuitively in their heart that animal foods would help them heal, like Agenus Vonderplanus doing the raw thing, the raw animal products, and if someone feels sick and they feel intuitively in the bottom of their heart that these foods would actually heal them, then I think they should do it, and maybe they heal up from those foods and then they go back to being vegan. That's totally cool too. Or maybe they feel like being 100% vegan is going to be what heals them.
And you've heard those stories too.
Yeah, and you should do that for as long as it serves you. If it serves you for your whole life, then do it for your whole life. I don't think there's any real disassociation from being spiritual and eating meat or not eating meat. I think people assume that. I mean, I'm like you. I would prefer if I could just not eat anything and live on air and not even have to eat plants.
I know, because you hear that plants have feelings apparently, or can, anticipate being cut or pulled out of the earth, and they actually measure they make a screaming sound, apparently.
If you want to hear or watch an amazing documentary that we watched, just put plant documentary and I'll put it on there.
Is it The Secret Life of Plants?
It's not that. I think it's what plants are saying to us or something like that. But we'll put it in the show notes. And it goes and it talks about the consciousness of plants and how plants actually kind of act in a sort of tribal way where they anticipate danger from other plants and animals, and they communicate with other plants in order to put up a unified front to protect their entire area.
That's right.
Using different
they'll attract different insects by putting off different smells and pollens and things to come protect the bigger... And then, you'll find other plants defending other species of plants, which is so weird. Like you said, like a tribal mentality. They become a tribe and they kind of band together.
And if you play music to plants, they grow faster. And they've done studies where they've shown that plants can anticipate being cut and they scream after being cut and all kinds of stuff. And so the idea that there's a distinction. It just depends on where the line is. Like in that movie, in the David Icke documentary we're watching, The Lion Sleeps No More, he was saying that in terms of people's freedoms being taken away, at some point people would say, okay, that's wrong. For CPS to come and take my child, that's wrong. Okay, I agree with you, that's wrong. And so his point was, okay, there's a line. There's a line somewhere. It just depends where you put that line. I don't think there's any real disconnection. Do you feel disconnected spiritually when you eat meat or eat animal products?
No.
No?
I don't feel disconnected spiritually. I think I have to go back. When you said tribal, it reminds me of the Native Americans and things. When talk about a spiritual group of people. They were connected. I don't know if there's ever been a group of people more connected with the earth than people who... I guess at one point, everyone was indigenous, living off the land, at some point. So those people had a connection, seeming connection that we know about to God and their ancestors and their roots and their spirituality. And that's why, they were carving things like totems and doing things that really were, they were thanking who they thought were the gods or had shown to be their god. So they were the most connected, in my opinion, probably people that have ever lived, and yet they would have this sacred dance where they would go out with their bows and arrows and hunt buffalo and kill enough for their tribe and haul it back. And it's like they'd give thanks and they'd feel like God, whoever their God was, sent them that food. Or when they did rain dances and the rain would come down, then they thanked gods for the rain. So I don't know. They didn't seem to have a spiritual problem with consuming meats. I don't think there was animal brutality. I think that's the difference now with people. They're viewing people eating meats as being okay with animal brutality, and that, I agree, is spiritually pretty messed up. Because basically you're pretty skewed, and it's pretty sad and disheartening that you're okay treating animals in a certain way. Thank God we're not the people having to kill the animals. That is really horrible. I'd have a really hard time going hunting or shooting something or having to skin it myself. I know we should be able to do that, like we've said before. If we want to eat the meat, we should be up for doing that. But I don't know. Back in the day, it just seemed like they were thankful and grateful and saw it as a blessing from God, and animals, they weren't really worried about animal rights at that point, and they used all of the animal. They took that buffalo, it fed their whole entire tribe for probably a while, and then they'd use the skin to make their clothes and their pelts and their shoes.
They used every part of it, their teeth, their nails, their paws, everything. They
were so grateful. So I don't know, I kind of think if we can, I know things are just different now, but if you can view almost the act of eating anything as a spiritual practice, just being grateful. I think that's what it comes back through. Like maybe not being okay with standing with animal brutality, making sure you purchase again your animal products from really high sources where the animals are at least being treated humanely. And then just give thanks. Like just give so much thanks when you eat your food and go about your spiritual journey until you feel personally like, if that's something getting in the way of you connecting with God, then I'd have to say go with that, because we all have such a different, unique walk with God,
right? And
view our connection to God as something completely different. So I don't know. I don't feel any less connected to God when I eat meats, and I just feel like it's super healing for me now. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'd prefer not to, but I think that also what people should understand is instead of seemingly going away from the distinctions between two separate things. They should move further into it.
Like how?
So they should become more connected to the plants or to the foods they eat instead of I think it's not healthy for us to not be connected to the meat we eat by not killing it. Mm-hmm. I think it's healthier to be a part of that whole cycle of life. And when you start removing yourself from the real cycles of life, then you start becoming unhealthy. I think. Even if that means eating certain plants, I think that you should get into and immerse yourself in the cycle of life and become part of it. And when you do that, I think that whether you're eating plants or animals, you're going to be healthier because of it, because it raises your awareness. It causes you to really understand your place on the planet. Because I think that living in these cities that we live in, we're disconnected from the sky. We're disconnected from the elements. Like, it doesn't matter if it rains or not. It hasn't rained in California in 5 years.
I know.
And we're still fine.
It sprinkles, right?
I mean, we're not fine technically, but
we're still here.
Is the same,
right?
And that would just not be the case if we were connected to the earth. We would need, we couldn't be artificially propped up. Like, the fact that it's not raining and we're sort of living off of the stores of water that our government is giving to us is much like chemotherapy. It's much like antibiotic drugs. It's like we're being propped up because we shouldn't be living here if it's not raining, because it doesn't fit in with the cycle of life. And so I think that when you extract yourself from the cycle of life like we have living here, or not being connected to the meat you eat, or not growing your own fruits and vegetables, I think something happens on a deeper spiritual level, if you're interested in spirituality, where that disconnection causes you to see distinctions and separateness, and you start being less grateful for things, and you stop giving thanks for the food you eat and for your life, and you no longer can look up at the stars and look at this vast universe, or look over the plains of the land and see rolling hills, because there's buildings all over the place, and there's smog all over the place, and chemtrails and streetlights, and you can never see the stars anymore.
Right, concrete jungle, huh?
All that stuff. So, I mean, I think that, I don't know. That's a good question.
It's a really good question. What came to mind too, though, is like you said, the cycle of life, and just starting to just kind of rejoin that cycle, because we've taken ourselves so far out of it.
We've removed ourselves.
It shows how you're thrown into situations where you have to reconnect, even though it's really hard. You might not choose it, like when people put their animals down, when they choose to put a pet down.
Right.
Oh, man, is that our call to make? I really don't know. Is that the right thing to do? It seems like at certain times it probably is. Or we've all seen those movies back in the day where there's a greyhound race or a horse race, and somebody trips, some animal trips. It's just it's going to die, and it's down, and the person that loves them, that has been with them since they were a baby, has bottle fed them, trained them 15 years.
Breastfed, everything.
Yeah, they have to shoot the breastfed. Well,
that's a little much.
It's a little much. But they have to take out the gun, and you're like, no, how could you do that? And they choose to do the right thing, what they think is the right thing for the animal, because they love it. So, again, I don't know. I mean, I know that's not consuming that animal, but it's making a choice that I don't know if that animal would have made it. How can you get into the mind of an animal? But rejoining that cycle and just letting yourself feel these things. And I tell you, that person who had to do that, it probably messed them up forever.
Right.
Because you had to make a choice to take a life of some other being. So whether you're eating them or whether you think you're doing them a favor, at some point it's just hard to be a human and hard to be in the cycle of life. It's
probably hard because we remove ourselves so much from it. We put our parents in old folks' homes, and we don't see real death or real birth. The whole birthing process is medicalized. I think that it causes a lot of problems because we consistently. It's like not going to the gym. You get sort of dumpier and dumpier and less strong and weaker. And
you get the dad bod.
You get the dad bod. Yeah,
that whole thing.
And I think that happens the more we get out of the cycle of life. And I think it's just really important for people to look for ways they can get into that cycle. And if you read a book called Black Elk Speaks, which is a book I read a long time ago, And it gets into all this stuff about how the Native Americans actually use, or even people's history of the United States. Incredible book by Howard Zinn. And he talks about how ancient Native Americans were on the land and how they lived and how they actually lived off the land. Another book is called The Vision by Tom Brown, which I'd highly recommend, where he talks about the spiritual quest of this guy named Grandfather, who was a Native American. And it gets into how they live. They're just different people. These people are, they are so thankful and so incredibly grateful for the land and for God providing and the food, and they bless. Have you ever seen those? It's called, what is it called? Distance running or distance hunting? Can you put a little thing on distance hunting? Where the Africans will they'll run for days.
Oh yeah,
chasing an animal to kill it, and it becomes this whole spiritual practice.
Like you said, it's like this dance where they let it. I think it knows too, and it's finally just chooses to kind of give up and surrender to the cycle.
In the little documentary, it's like a 4-minute video, but it talks about how the people that are doing the hunting are actually communicating with the animal and thanking it, and as it's been like in the middle of the hunt, like they're just sort of jogging and they're leaving clues and smells and they're communicating with the animal. I mean, see, this type of thing, it's like we're so far removed from any kind of natural living in our culture.
I know.
Our society, it's crazy.
We can't even get Maggie to understand what we're... Hey, Maggie, you want to go for a walk?
Just growls.
Yeah.
Constant growls.
Goes into your house and growls.
I know,
but
right?
imagine. I feel like I got an email from my friend Allison Adams this morning. I just love her. For those of you who want to read a great book on Mercury, I know I keep mentioning it, but man, is it great. It's the Natural Recovery Plan.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out. It's a great book.
And she's been on our show if you want to listen.
Yeah. Do you know what episode?
I don't know. We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
Episode 382? Yeah,
yes.
382.
But she, what was she saying? Where was I going with this? What were we just talking about?
Oh, just being vegan or eating animals and plants and things?
No.
While you find that, I'm going to thank our latest patrons. How about that?
Okay, yeah, I think you should. I don't even know where I was going with that. Bummer. Okay.
Our latest iTunes review, we don't have any this week.
We don't?
I'm a little bummed.
Oh, gosh.
No iTunes reviews.
Nobody? Not a single solitary review?
No, The Organic Mechanic was the last one.
Oh.
Bummer.
Well, if you, listeners, want to be the next one, we are open to receiving iTunes reviews.
Please leave us a review on iTunes if you can. We would greatly appreciate that. There's a couple Facebook shares that I want to mention. Hilaria Ramirez, Alex N. Norma Hamburger, Chris Strews, Vicky Ingram Hobgood, Lorraine Smith, Connie V. Grady, D. Smith, Chris Williams, Brianna Lynn Wetzel, Mary Edgar, Patricia Muhammad, Shar Pennington Simpson, Roberta Horowitz, Holly Conley Wilkie, Agnes Kedzierski.
Wow, good one.
Healthy Natural Wellness.
That's an easy one.
And Gluten, Sugar, Dairy-Free Lifestyle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
They shared our stuff on Facebook.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Yeah, appreciate that.
We really appreciate that.
So you can't remember what you were trying to get?
Gosh darn it.
What was it about? What's her name?
Who?
The guest, Adams?
Oh, Allison Adams.
Allison Adams, and what she wrote to you?
Oh, yeah, it was just about a returning. That's right, thank you. But I couldn't remember because we write to each other a lot. But
okay.
She was talking about getting back to your roots and how important things like dowsing are if you understand how to do it. It's like we are all born with these superpowers that we that should be God-given rights, things we should be able to do. And yet we can't because, like you said, we're living in these concrete jungles where we don't even know what a rolling hill is anymore because all we see are freeways and high-rises for the most part.
Right.
But to be able to return to that, I always love my conversations and emails with her because it's, I don't know, it's really exciting to think about the possibilities of returning to that warrior, tribal kind of mind and try to do it in the modern world. I mean, talk about what seems to be near impossible. But every time that you value really returning to your roots enough to even carve out a time for 10 minutes of meditation, or sitting in silence in prayer, or going in the float tanks and getting real about what it is at your core that you feel like you have either done before, come from, or want to return to. I feel like it's all just hidden way deep down in there. And I feel like there is a way to get back to it. Not like back to regress to where you're living in a loincloth shooting deer on a field in the middle of Omaha or wherever. But I feel like there's a way to do it in modern society where you can reconnect yourself. And I think that's why we do this show, is just to go through our own process and kind of, be able to document it along the way, but to encourage other people to return home, like to remember, because I think it's all in there. It's not like, for a lot of people, it seems like these new concepts when they listen to shows like ours, or anything, documentaries. David Icke sometimes blows your mind and you're like, wow, that's something I never would have thought of. That's crazy. But after hearing things, sometimes you go, wow, it sounds crazy, but I almost feel like I've heard it before because it resonates so deep in my soul. Like I've known it. So I'm almost just coming back to a remembering state versus you feel like when you're hearing it, it's this brand new concept.
So how do you...
I don't
feel like that works in your life? You're talking about more getting into the sort of roots of who you are. Is that kind of the idea?
Remembering your real roots, returning to being connected to the land and being connected to God and being connected to the source of things, the way we view things that we were really meant to, that we've just gotten so clouded and busy and let them take our superpowers away, because she was saying in an email how she feels like we were all really born with these kind of supernatural abilities that have been stripped away from us, and yet we don't even know. We think that there's stuff in movies like, Superman, whoever came up with that concept for a cartoon, it's like the guy could fly and everybody's like, oh, can you imagine if we could fly? Well, what if we really are meant to? Like, what if, it sounds wild, but what if we were meant to fly? And that's just been, we forget how to do it. We think it's crazy. We've been told we can't fly, and so therefore we can't fly. It's like the 4-minute mile?
Oh, Rogers Bannister.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
It's like they said that it couldn't be done, and it couldn't be done, and it couldn't be done. Well, lo and behold.
Now high school kids are doing it.
High school kids everyone does it. One person does it. All of a sudden, anyone can do it. So it just makes me feel like, it goes back to just, that could be also applied to the way we live. Like, if we were to reconnect, and that's what's crazy about, like, the Hay House 2015 World Summit. It's always great. They just have every year they have a bunch of guests, and all guests have something unique to offer. And I feel like half the guests this year were really tapped into this, like, kind of what I would call a superhuman ability and a God-given, like, gift, where, whether they're a medical medium or whether they have this ability to look at someone and kind of read their body or listen to what someone's body is telling them to tell them. It's like these, and people would think that's crazy or evil or spirit weirdness or whatever, but I just think, wow, what if that is the stuff? What if that is the stuff we were all born with, and yet it's just been vaccinated out of us, it's been scared out of us, it's been told no so many times.
Indoctrinated
all these generations later, we just think that we're these one-dimensional human beings, like robots going around going, yes to that, no to that, I can't do that, that's crazy.
Right.
And so therefore we just accept it because we don't think we have any other options. But then you meet somebody who kind of blows the door off that, and then you're like, what is going on? And at least makes you question, do we all have that ability?
Well, that's like last time.
Do we all have it, or are these people special?
Well, that's what we're talking about on our last show, episode 381, where there was in the show notes we linked to a guy who does what was that called? Geolocation. With the
clicking sounds.
The clicking, yeah. He's a blind guy, and he uses clicking sounds to be able to bounce his sound waves off of any object that's near him, and he can determine.
And he's completely blind.
He's completely blind, and he can ride a bike. He can walk anywhere without a stick. The guy's incredible. But that's like the type of thing. It almost seems like a superpower, right?
Wow, yeah.
So my thing is, like, I like the idea of getting back to not just superpower, because that sounds like, well, I don't know if I could do this or that. That sounds a little bit outrageous, but I think all those skills and abilities lie dormant within us. I think that's there. But I think for me what is cool is the idea of figuring out, sort of getting in touch, like you said, going to the source of who you are instead of what everyone else is saying, who they think you should be, or what you're groomed to be, what your family is, or what your mom and dad wants you to be, or who your friends think you are. And then you sort of live your life in such a way where you get this this marginalized existence that is only able to operate within a small realm of possibility and opinions and things like that. And as you get older, those margins get closer and closer together. So all of a sudden, you can't do anything without people becoming upset or telling you things like, I don't know who you are anymore, or who do you think you are? Do you think this? Or you're going to hell for thinking that, or you're not a Christian if you think that, or you're not a Muslim if you think this way. And I think over time, as you keep living in this controlled society, you're told what's possible, what's not, what's probable, what's not, what's what's standard, what's normal to believe, and what's abnormal. Even. And you stop realizing who you really are and what you're capable of, and you stop realizing why you're here on the earth and what you really want to be doing with your life. Right? I mean,
right.
Why are we here? To work a
the
job
age-old question
that we all hate, and to make other people happy or live in someone else's existence? What is
stress
that all
out about bills, try to go on a vacation, and then die with
weird,
money
right?
in the bank?
Yeah, I mean,
that's weird.
It's weird, but it's so part of our society that you just have to. It's sort of like what older people will say. Well, that's just what you do. Mm-hmm. That's what you do.
Right.
The idea of loving your job or loving your vocation or loving your life in any capacity. You got to do these things because that's the safe, responsible thing. Right. You just forget who you are because you've never even thought about it.
Who was I was talking to you the other week about, I forget, it was I don't know if it was a TV show or somebody I knew that I read about this TV. Was it the Duggars? I don't remember who it was, but it was somebody whose father on a show, or even somebody I knew. I get so much, I just get bombarded with so much information I don't remember. But whoever this father was, it was like he was very adamant about the person who wanted to marry his daughter be able to provide 100% for this, and he wanted just to know that his daughter would be taken care of, and that this big provision thing. And you talk about whoever said that was a prerequisite for marrying somebody. If two people love each other, why should one person's dad or mom or grandfather or elder come in and be like, show me how much money you make every month? You're saying 100% you can support my daughter, and if something happens, you'll go out and you'll make it happen, and you'll make sure she never has to worry. Well, I'm sorry, but to me that just seems crazy. Life happens. You never know if that guy's going to go get hit by a car walking out of his, and she has to take care of him for the rest of his life. That's the worst case scenario.
Attachment.
Well, then what happens?
Ideas, right? Yeah. What do you do in that case?
So it just seems like we've been sold this idea for so long, and right now, in modern times, it's like, wow, things are changing. But 1800s. You as a guy going to a girl's parents, especially his father, and asking permission and making it sound like you could 100% care for his daughter. That's cool and all, and it's romantic, but it's just not reality anymore. You know?
It's a different world.
It's just a different world. But
it's a different world, yeah.
But I think if we can kind of let those old paradigms die, but take the good out of them, and kind of, embrace this new world and way of thinking, and just
and be who you are,
really be who you are,
and knowing what you want,
right? Right, because now we have more of a chance now than ever before in history to know what it is you want, and to do what it is you want. When I was thinking when you were talking about something a few minutes ago, it's like, for the first time in a long time, women can decide who they want to marry. They can choose who they want to marry, or they can go out and get a job, or, that wasn't so acceptable 150 years ago. Or, our parents might not understand why it is that we don't have conventional jobs, and that we have this such soul calling to I don't think anyone will ever understand how much we feel this is a calling to get this information out into the world, because it is hard. Right. It's really hard. I don't know who would choose this, because it's like you kind of just get beat down, then you get back up, and then you get beat down, and whether it's by Google penalizing you, or whether it's by, seeming outside forces trying to take you down and not get this message out, it's a very difficult place to be. But when you have a calling and you're able to live in a day and age where you actually can pursue it,
Right.
And not have to go take the 9 to 5 and just say, like our grandparents did, I did it for the family because that's what I had to do and I had to support. Like, that's valiant and I respect that, but it's just not the way that things are going anymore. And I'm so grateful people are being like, yeah, what am I good at? What's my gift? What do I love to do? What do I love to do? How do I want to spend my time? You know, like,
you have one life here on Earth.
One life with this shot down here, you know?
Unless you believe in reincarnation.
But you don't ever get this exact life again.
Yeah, you don't get this life again.
This is a one-shot deal, so why would you want to spend it miserable? And
yeah, because you've had people tell you, because, you know, right now, you know, all of our shows, we're doing commercial-free shows, which makes no sense financially, right? But I don't want to break the flow. I want to create a great conversation. If we have to go, I'm not going to be attached to any one thing.
Right.
If we have to go back to commercials in order to pay the bills and become sustainable, then we'll do that. But it makes no sense financially, so we're sort of, our sponsors are each of you listeners on Patreon, and we accept donations there on Patreon, and we'll put a link to that if you want to support us, and we appreciate that so much. But our whole goal is to do commercial free shows, and you've had people recently say to you, what they say to you, like,
I had someone
if this doesn't work out, are you going to, you know, have you thought about going and getting a regular job or something? And that's why all this came up.
A few people who are even friends of mine that have stood beside me and been like, yeah, go you guys. And then when things get hard and I go to them being like, I don't know how this is going to work out, they'll say, well, like, have you even thought about what you'd want to do if you were to go get, you know, if you had to go get a job? I'm like, the word have to go get it just seems so like, what are you smoking? Like, why do I have to do something and sell my soul when I'm providing good content to the world? I'm like, there is no plan B. I mean, however this is going to pan out, it's going to pan out somehow. And but just for them to even say that, it's really discouraging, and that's not what you need to hear when you're sharing with somebody who cares about you.
Right.
Like, hey, I just don't know what's going to happen. Pray for me, or do you have any advice or opinions? But instead, they're like, what would you want to do? I'm like, I am doing what I want to do. Like,
I know, this is it.
Well, I thought it was really funny when we were having a really hard time a couple months ago, and I wrote an email. I wrote a newsletter for asking people if they could support us on Patreon. And I wrote this, you know, email out asking for people if they could support, and it was like a very small amount, just saying, hey, we don't know if we can keep going, because we really had hit a point where we're like, I don't even know if this is feasible. How we're going to keep going depends on you guys. And I wrote it, and, you know, it wasn't the response we wanted. And I even knew it was like a suicide mission from a
kamikaze.
Yeah, total kamikaze from a what do you call that? An
from
a marketing standpoint. Yeah, because, you know, nobody likes to feel like people are asking for support, or we should appear to be bigger than we are, or, you know, like our, you know, whatever. Yeah. But I did, and it was so funny. One of the comments we got back from a Facebook thing was like, I don't remember exactly, but he said, like, maybe it's time for Kate to go back to the salon. ...
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's just low. Like, do you know 16 years of what chemicals have done to me, and how many years beyond knowing that it took me 6 or 7 to even be able to take the leap, make this huge leap, feeling like we were secure enough to do it, and then have everything crumble? Like, I would like to have him knock on my door, see him face to face, and have him say that to me. That's just such a low blow.
Or have him, go to
maybe
the salon.
It's time for Kate to go back to the salon. Yeah, why don't you go smell a bunch of ammonia and hairspray for 16 years? Have stuff seep through your gloves and seep into your hands, so you come home with like monkey palms. I would have black palms of stuff that would just soak in through my gloves, and just like it would stain my hands for days, and I'd have dirty looking nails for weeks because stuff would get up under there. It was impossible to get out. You'd have bleach spots on your skin that turned patches of your skin white from flicking it on. I had bleach in my eye one time, and I'm like, really, guy? Like, that's nice, thanks. I asked you if you could donate as low as 25 cents an episode. What is that, $1 a month? $1 a month.
That helps too.
And he goes, maybe it's time for Kate, reality check, maybe it's time for Kate to go back to the salon.
Yeah, that's
and I was
not
like,
fair.
Thank you very much. You're not even getting a response. Like don't listen to our show. I don't want you listening to our show.
Yeah, we have a new policy, and I'd like you to expand on what that policy is.
I will put it very simple. Our new policy, we decided, is that if there's a rude, kind, or honestly, like, coming from a mean place.
You said rude, kind?
Rude or unkind? Sorry.
Yeah.
And like, what's it called? Unconstructive, or picking us apart in any way. We're just not going to return There will be no return of an email. It's not worth our time. We'll probably delete it before we read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because we're all about, we're about spreading kindness. We're trying our hardest. If people don't like the things we have to say, I just think it's funny that people take the time to write an email to critique you on things when you're clearly trying your best.
I know.
And I think I just have to go for a minute. I just have to go off on this.
Let it out, baby.
I just feel.
Let it out.
I feel like we started this you started it, but I jumped on board fairly quickly with the intention of getting as much information out to people that is life-changing and hopefully health-changing as possible, to encourage people to live better lives on all planes.
Every level.
Yeah, on every level. That's all we're trying to do. So I just find it really funny that we get emails here and there, not very many, but when they do, they just kind of floor you, that people would take the time to write about our use of adverbs, or how we might write emails, newsletters with slang in them, and these are people that were very kind and just writing to us going, I just don't understand, you guys seem much more intelligent and highly educated and professional. But our whole thing is, we don't want to be a syndicated show. We're not trying to sit here and be professionals.
Right.
The whole point of the show is for people to drop in on a conversation between friends, between a husband and wife, talking in their own space, in their own house, about their own ideas. And if people don't like it, or they want us to be more professional, I remember getting an email a while ago about saying they thought it was so unprofessional that one of us had to get up and go to the bathroom or talk about
which you're going to get up in a minute and go pee.
I really do have to. And you know what?
So if you want
to sit here for 2 hours and try not to go pee yourself, or you're having a live show and you actually just have to go to the bathroom, I'm not going to gloss it over or step on eggshells anymore. This is just our conversation that we're having, that we love for people to listen to if they get good stuff out of. But to make these funny, I don't know. I just think that there's no room for that in this world. There's so much meanness and unkindness, and
there is. Yeah.
I just feel like people need to know our real intent, and if they don't like our intent, then that's fine. But you don't need to point out everyone's flaws, especially when we're trying our best.
Well, when you're hiding behind a computer screen and email, people say, we sent out a newsletter today, and the subject line was, wanna be featured on our show. And we got an email, and it says, why would you use the word wanna in your message? It is a contradiction that is used by uneducated people along with other derivatives that cast an illiterate shadow on the user. Now, this is all his attachments and his opinions and his ideas, things. I know that both of you are not illiterate, nor do you display a general dialect of someone who is illiterate. In fact, I assume that you are highly educated, including the use of the English language. Some components of our society seem to revel in the degradation of our primary language, English. But I believe that if we desire to communicate with greater clarity, using non-descriptive language will not lead us in that direction. Now, it's just bizarre. There's a balance between everything that we're doing here, and I don't think people understand that. I use the word wanna in the subject line because I want people to click into the email, because we have valuable information of those thousands of people who are in our newsletter community. We provide really great information about what's going on in our lives, upcoming events that are free for everyone to join, upcoming shows. You get past guests, our latest articles, our featured product. You get all kinds of really good information, and I want people to click into that.
And unfortunately, if you title it something that's not eye-catching, no one cares.
Yeah, people look at the subject line of an email and they determine whether or not they're going to click into it.
Absolutely. That's just the way the internet works and marketing
wanna
works.
Is an incorrect use of the English language, and what it does is causes people to read the whole thing. And so when they read the whole thing, then they'll be more likely to click into it, and we want to share our lives with you guys, and we have valuable information that could help you. And so you're not going to get that unless you open up the email. And so that was used in a very intentional way to catch your eye so that you see the flaw in the grammar. But it does me no good if no one opens our emails of the great information that we share with you 2 times a week on Mondays and Fridays. If you don't click into them, then it doesn't help any of us. And so it's if you really want to learn more about something called quantum grammar.
Language? Quantum grammar.
Quantum grammar. And this whole adverb-verb fiction that we live in now, where there is no such thing as truth, and there's no such thing as nouns, and all these things, all they do is create fictions. If you really want to learn about grammar, watch a 9-hour presentation by Judge David Wynn Miller. We'll put a link to that in this show page. But the idea of using wanna in the subject line, I don't know, it's just an example of what you're saying. It's like, you really don't need to share. It's not really that important.
Well, because we are just trying to, I mean, that's cool if somebody feels like they need to respond like that, but I just don't know how to respond back, because it's like, wow, do you not see the greater picture of what we're trying to do? We're really just trying to help people. Mm-hmm. And that's an intentional example of what you said, and I love that you did that, because it was very intentional, but probably unintentional, stupid things we might say, or misuse of words, or me blanking out in the middle of a sentence because I have metal in my brain. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just being a human. And people are, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not showing up to be perfect. That's what's funny. Like, I never set out to show up behind a microphone to be perfect.
Right.
And if anyone can do that, bravo to them. I don't know many people who could do that and not put their foot in their mouth at sometimes, or even say things that might make people mad, or even sound stupid. Like,
and if you want to
I own it. That's fine.
If you want to do that, you got Channel 4 News. You got Tom Brokaw, right?
Well, that's exactly what
this
it is.
This is what Lynn says to us. Secondly, when either of you mention that you have to pee, yes, this might be very true and very, quote, real. In my opinion, the listeners does not need this information in order to relate to you better. Such discussion is totally unnecessary, is not instructive to the listener in any way, and also demonstrates a lack of professionalism for your radio program. Yes, it seems to be your, quote, style, but you do not hear radio hosts on well-respected national programs announcing their need to pee. I would bet that I am not the only one who thinks of this, that this is the case. So,
well, maybe not, but that's the only email we've gotten.
Yeah,
I think about that, isn't it?
I think that here's my take on this. We could be very polished if we wanted to be, and very professional, and very put together, and make no mistakes, and edit out
tiny little notebook.
In a tiny little notebook, and edit out all the little ums and the mistakes and all that stuff, which is what they do in network television. And what I also think is that it's important for people to let that stuff go, because that is a part of a dinosaur of a paradigm, old media, that it is run its course, and it's time for it to go away. It's time for it to all go away. Who sits around watches the news? Who sits around this stuff, this whole idea of this controlled language and this inability to truly be yourself? Like you said,
this robotic presentation.
This show, this is how you and I talk sort of all the time at home, and we're just happen to be recording it. And for the people that like it, that's great. If you don't like it, that's great too. But we're just
no hard feelings. That's fine.
Letting people into a conversation that we're having,
right,
either with each other or with each other and a guest. Mm-hmm. And I would rather broadcast to, I feel so called to do this, that I would rather broadcast to 50 people rather than, thousands and thousands of people. I'd rather broadcast to 50 people who really understand the true scope of what we're trying to do, of being a better version of ourselves, a stronger version of ourselves, living out the true intention and the expression, the fullest expression of who we should be on the planet. And if you have to get an occasional I have to pee, or a joke about something that is just,
urine therapy. Everybody thinks that one's funny, but yeah.
Yeah. These types of things, I think it's petty, it's old world. And if you want to sort of hear that type of information, there's lots of those shows that are very candid, they're very scripted. I'm sorry, they're not candid, they're very scripted, and they're very well professional and put together. There's all kinds of too much information that people share on shows, and this is our thing that we're allowing people to listen to, and I think that that's the way media is going. And I think that the more you try to coddle yourself and hold yourself in and not be the fullest expression of yourself, in a second, Kate, you're going to go pee and I'll carry the show, and big deal. That's what people do when they have conversations and they're sitting around talking. We just happen to have a studio here, and I think that when we try to we've had other people say other things to us, and it's totally opposite. If we tried to be all things to all people,
we'd go
we would
batty.
never be who we are.
No.
And if you can never be who you are when you're listening to this, that's not cool. That's not cool. And if people can't accept who you are, then that's really on them.
Right.
That's not really on us. Or it's not, if you're listening to this and you feel like people judge you for fully expressing your opinions about things, I think we should all sort of question, myself included, do we need to be hanging around these people? Which is one of the reasons why we sort of got off our personal Facebook accounts.
Right.
Is do we need these people in our life?
I agree with you. I'd rather have 50. I think what it boils down to is the word authentic. I'd rather have 50 authentic people and listeners of our show that really valued and appreciated all the information we're trying to get out, and their hearts are just so open and good and wanting to learn, and they forgive our mistakes, and they're gentle and kind and humble enough just to laugh, because we have to totally sometimes humiliate ourselves with things we wish we didn't say or whatever. But I mean, that's just, we're being as authentic as we can. And those emails that you read, like, I think those weren't like mean-hearted ones. It was, I think, people who wrote in as really what they thought was constructive criticism. Right. And I thank you. I mean, that's fine, and that's great. Thanks for sharing, for sure. But I do feel like our hearts, again, are authentic, and we're trying our best to just look at the bigger. I encourage everyone to look at the bigger picture, and that is to help people get healthy and restore them back to their optimal state of being. And I don't think verbs or nouns or mistakes even really matter.
I think you really need to look at the intention of what people are trying to do, and I think that the more you are concerned with what other people think about you, that becomes a slippery slope. Because,
I've done that my whole life, and I'm done doing that, and this is part of it.
Right.
So anyone who's listened to... Sorry, I totally cut you off. But
no, I think that's good. No.
Anyone who's listened to the show from the beginning, we get emails, really awesome emails from people saying, we've seen your growth. You guys are completely different, especially me. I get really personal emails from people going, wow, I've seen you open up and just like grow your wings and fly and just jump off the cliff and just really just wholeheartedly go into it, And I value that because I know myself, I've changed so much. But it's like, wow, when you come from it's kind of like pouring lemon juice in someone's cut, you know?
Right.
It's like, wow, if you've listened at all from the beginning and seen my struggle to kind of come out of caring what everyone's thought about me my whole life.
Right.
And then to get a few random emails from people going, here's what I think about you, or it's actually really an opportunity for me to grow because it actually helps me not care because I'm developing a thicker shell. And I have to let those things go. But you just think, gosh, that on their part, that is kind of unkind when you see someone on a great journey who isn't perfect, who's come so far, and then just to try to drag them down a little bit. I hope they feel pretty good about that because that's not nice. It's like old school. Like if you don't have anything nice to say.
I know, right?
Like, aren't we just all trying our best? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I'm trying my best, and I would never dream of writing someone an email bagging on little things that really don't matter. I just think it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I know.
I just want to address that. Like, I don't even want to focus on our show too much about it because I don't think it's worth it. But that's the kind I'm just saying right now, I'm not going to be responding to any emails that are slighting or rude or mean. I can't be bothered with those.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have to go pee?
I'm going to go pee.
All right. I'll carry it while you're gone. Yeah, I like that. That's good, Kate.
Thanks.
Yeah, so she's going to go pee. And I just think that that's a really, really awesome stance that all of us have to take, because we all have people in our lives who it's weird because they really think like they know us. But if you're listening to this, you're probably one of those people who are like me and Kate, or I should say Kate and I, to be grammatically correct, that is interested in personal development, interested in growth, spiritually, emotionally, in every way possible. And I think that as a person continues to grow, the majority of the people around that person typically might be the same that they have always been and have the same ideas and opinions about things. And so when someone starts changing, they get uncomfortable with who they think that you are. And the person they're comfortable with is the person they've created in their mind about you maybe 10 or 15, 20 years ago. and that's the person that makes them feel comfortable. And so when you start to grow and become someone different, it makes them feel uncomfortable, and it makes them sort of put their stuff on you to try to get you to change, to sort of get you back in line with how they thought of you originally. And it's just really weird, you know? And I think part of this show is using food and nutrition and everything to be to grow as much as we possibly can spiritually and emotionally, so that we can step into the fullest expression of the true entity that we're supposed to be on Earth. And that means being ourselves completely, you know. And
that is not an easy thing to do. I think if you can master that, if you can somehow, I mean, I bet I'd love to know a percentage of people who really feel like they've come into their complete authentic self. Mm-hmm. That's got to be the biggest, most freeing thing anyone could ever do on this earth. Yeah. In this life, don't you think? That's so difficult.
Yeah, not many people do that. Not many people are willing to take the risk to sort of share their real opinions and ideas and philosophies about life. And it's really easy. We're still working on it, but it's really easy to just sort of acquiesce and be silent for the sake of not causing an argument or causing strife within a family or friends or losing friends.
Not only being silent, but agreeing, finding yourself agreeing with things out loud that you're like, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. Why am I agreeing not to upset my dad or, my friend? Yeah. Why do we agree? I mean, it's
because we don't want to upset the apple cart. We all want to be sort of, walking and prancing along and making sure the eggshell never gets broken.
And everybody likes us.
And everyone likes us. And see, one of the things is if you're doing it right, you're going to have a lot of people that don't like you.
I know.
If you're doing it right. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have a lot of people that love you and a lot of people that don't like you. And you're going to have people that are very polarized. And the greatest people who have ever lived throughout the entire history of the planet Earth are very polarizing people. They're people that people have very strong opinions about. Mm-hmm. You're never going to hear people say about, a Gandhi president. Or a Jesus or a president and say, oh, I don't know, he seemed like an okay guy. He seemed all right. Right? You're going to say...
To have the entire population saying, yeah, sure, he's cool, whatever.
You're going to have people loving Jesus or hating him.
Right.
And so if you're doing it right, you're going to polarize people, I think. And that's not to say that you should seek out to polarize people, but always acquiescing and not walking on eggshells for the sake of a little bit of peace and denying the true essence of yourself. What happens to you as a result of that? Is that do we do that over a course of an entire life, and that cumulative suppression, does that cause disease or an inability to live for a long time? Is that somehow involved in human beings not living either as long as they're supposed to live, or is it involved in sort of not expressing the full power and the full what is the right word? The full, not intention,
expression,
potential of who we are. Is there a connection there?
I would have to think. I don't know. It seems like there would be, doesn't it?
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, I want to tell people about a few things on our website that are new. And I think, Kate, you have a few. Did I send you an email with the latest to your... So there's a few things on our website that I want to let people know about. Some really cool things, if you want to be involved in what we're doing. You'll see some buttons at the top of our website right now, as it stands June 22nd, 2015, that say Write for Us. So we're accepting writers. If you are someone who has a lot of health knowledge and you've done research and you have some interesting ideas to share with people and a way to express yourself that's not necessarily to your own Facebook people, or it's a safe environment for you to share your thoughts and ideas, you can write for us, and we're accepting those. We won't be accepting everything that comes through, and we will be editing, some things, depending on what the content is. The only catch is that these articles must be brand new and never published online. So you can't have previously written articles that have been published on blogs or your blog and then submit them to us.
Are we looking for both health, spirituality, life, just kind of overall?
Personal development, spirituality, health.
That's cool.
Obviously, personal growth, those types of things.
What a fun idea. I love it.
Yes.
I love hearing from different people. I mean, it's basically like having a blog of a bunch of people all put together. It's kind of like that magazine I'm loving lately, Bella Grace.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of people contributing both their photos and their articles, and it's just so fun.
It's a cool thing.
It's really neat.
You should put a link to that.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Ladies,
so
it's
if
a
you
great
want
magazine.
to write for us, you can submit your article to us and be part of the team in that way. And you'll have an instant platform because we'll be sharing it on Facebook and Twitter and things. And also, we have an audio blog section where we're turning many of our articles into audio blogs or audio companions. So if you want to hear us sort of express our articles in audio form, there's
Our Ramblings on Life.
Our Ramblings on Life. There's an audio blog section.
I'm excited about that. We had that up for a while, but
it's sort of newly
revamped. And we're adding a new section.
That's right. We have survivor stories. So we're going to be accepting articles as well as doing interviews with people who have overcome catastrophic diseases. Doesn't have to be cancer, but it could be cancer or heart attacks, anything like that, in a natural way. So if you know of someone or if you have overcome a disease using infections using natural methods,
an accident,
if you want to write about it and submit your article, there's a place for that on the website, as well as if you would like to be interviewed. We're going to be launching a survivor story interview that'll be available to our YouTube people, subscribers. And so make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube if you don't want to miss those. But you can subscribe on YouTube and you'll be able to see a separate playlist for that, which will be really cool, where you're going to hear about video interviews with Kate and I talking with real people who have overcome their health conditions.
It's our spinoff. It's our baby.
It's our baby.
It's our new baby.
And
that's exciting. That makes me happy.
I know, right? Mm-hmm. And we have a new section. We've been getting so many questions lately on everything from health, spirituality, the books we read, our health practices, meditation, all kinds of stuff. So we thought, why not start a little health show? A Q&A show. So we're going to do a Q&A show with Kate and I. We're each going to have our separate show. And if you would like to submit a question for that and find out what our answer would be concerning a particular thing maybe in your life or a health, personal development, spiritual kind of related question, you can see a link to that at the very top of our website. It's going to be launching soon. So they're called Q&A shows, and you'll see the orange button for that.
Just to clarify for people, is the best way for them to go on to that link and record a message so we can play the recording and then answer the show?
Yes.
Or answer it on the show? Okay.
So if you click Q&A shows,
you can also email in.
You can email in, but the best way is to record a question right there on that page.
It's kind of fun.
You can say, hey, Kate, what do you think about this or that? And we've been getting so many questions.
Hey, Kate, how do you deal with a nasty 10-pound wiener dog?
Hey, Kate, how do you deal with extreme criticism? So we're going to be launching that soon.
I'm excited. So really soon.
I think what happens is that we get these questions and they would serve a lot of people for us to answer them. But yet we reply to people via email and it sort of only gets for them.
Seen by them, right?
Yeah, so I think... a
lot of stuff. I would love to know some of the other people we follow and shows we follow. I'd love to know what other people's questions are and what their private email was back to somebody. That's great.
And we're also going to be doing a lot more videos on YouTube as well. So stay tuned for that. Stay
tuned.
Yeah.
Can I give thanks for our latest Facebook shares?
Yes.
This is cool. Did you read these? No, you didn't. You read some other ones.
No, I read some other ones that aren't included in that list.
Okay. Well, I see a couple of the names are the same. Are these the same? Anyway, we have Gail Kinney, Building Health from Within, Jeff Osmanson.
Nice.
Kurt Russell. Ewald. He has a different last name. That's the best. Patricia Mohammed, Roger Ferdinand, Alex and Norma Hemberger, and Ashley O'Connor. And can I give a big shout out to our latest patrons? This is so exciting, utilizing Patreon and really helping us out. Madeline Weber, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Teresa Hargitay and Christina Hinkle.
Nice.
Who we're going to be meeting up for Juices with apparently this coming week.
Yes.
Her and her husband, Evan.
Yeah, they're cool.
Hinkles, we love you guys.
They're routinely in the chat room on Friday mornings.
They're amazing. If you guys, and that's another thing. If you guys are ever around live to join the live chat on Friday, it is a hoot.
It is a hoot.
Can I use that?
Hoot and Hanny.
Hoot and Hanny.
That is at 9 a.m. Pacific time, extremehealthradio.com/live. And we usually post a link to that in our Twitter feed as well as our Facebook. So follow those if you want to be reminded. But Madeline was saying she just purchased a sauna. She purchased a sauna and she's in Ireland, and we sent it over to her, and she's gonna be pumped.
Right.
She's gonna be pumped. Can you imagine Ireland in the winter and how awesome that sauna is gonna be?
We know how we feel in California, what we think is freezing. Oh, she's gonna be in hog heaven.
Yeah, she was cool because she purchased a sauna. It was so nice. She purchased a sauna from us, and then she donated, set up an account on Patreon.
Yep.
Which is so nice. Right afterwards. And she said to us, I hope to keep the Patreon thing going as long as I can, because she donated $5 per show. And at 4 shows a month, that's $20 a month. But I felt like telling her, in fact, I will email her. If you could even drop it down to 50 cents a show or $1 a show, and that still helps us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can't keep up the $5, or some of these, gosh, we have a few people that are like, what's the biggest one? Like $20 an episode or something?
No, 15.
15? That's huge.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, and we understand if you can't keep that going, we'll take, the 20-cent ones or the $1. Those are just as valuable. We've said this before, but we jump up and down and get excited whether it's 20 cents or $20. Like, it doesn't make a difference. It's just that we feel valued and appreciated, and it just really helps us keep our work going. So, can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah, it helps us keep it going, but it also helps to keep it commercial free, so we don't have to take commercials. That's part of that whole old school model, I think, is commercials, advertisers, sponsors. Like I said, we'll go to that if we have to. We started doing it that way, but man, I want to move people into a new model, and that new model is everything is crowd-funded and crowd-sourced. Like Bitcoin is an open source platform for people to be able to modify the code. This whole thing that what's his name's doing, Elon Musk, with the Hyperloop, that whole thing that they're doing is crowd-funded, crowd-sourced. They're doing that, and that's the way.
I love it. People are coming together.
People come together and they share their ideas and opinions to make the entity of whatever's being worked on better. Mm-hmm. And I think the whole model of advertisers what's her name, Dr. Allison Adams, say that to you in a recent email that she doesn't like the old school idea of sponsors and things like that?
Yeah, she said she personally is moving beyond. She's not drawn to programs anymore that have official commercials.
Yeah, and
it is kind of old school. I agree.
And what it is this idea of crowdfunding and crowdsourcing, I think, is the model that we're going to move towards in the future. And the younger people in the world know that in order for them to have better shows to listen to, more options for content, and higher quality shows, they must be a part of that whole thing. And so they become a part of a larger community. And it just so happens that you and I, Kate, are sort of the ones that are heading up this radio show.
Right.
But people can become a part of that by donating 25 cents a show, $1 a month, $4 or $5 a month,
Well, you really become a partner in health, a partner in spirituality. You become more than just a donor.
Right.
It literally is you guys who make this possible.
Yeah.
It really is.
Without you guys, we couldn't do this show, and we couldn't do this show commercial free. Mm-mm. And so this crowdfunding, I think this is the way media is going to go. And I want to be around for that final shoe to drop, and for old media, CNN, Fox News, bye-bye.
Yeah.
People, newspapers, I want all that to go away.
Peace out, Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah, we're done, Christian Amanpour. Have fun in Baghdad or wherever your fake setup is. Where your fake set is. I think that, since when would we be able to be a part of the success or failure of CNN?
Thank you.
It just is what it is.
That is a great point. Right.
We're not a part of CNN. Yeah. And not only that, they're doing things to purposely program our mind. Mm-hmm. So they're doing things that harm us, but we think that...
to shut us up when we have an opinion.
Right.
You're never going to make it to the...
And then they extract money from us because we're a listener or a viewer, so they can show their advertisers who want to sell us drugs and things. By the way, can you find that ad?
What? Oh, gosh. You want me to run out and get it in my magazine?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And go pee while you're at it if you're...
No. Now you're just being so...
But, CNN will not only do that, but they'll extract money from you because you're an eyeball or you're a listener to what they're doing, and then they can charge more money from their sponsors. It becomes this whole cyclical thing where it's promoting this old model of ideas and opinions that I just can't wait for it to go away. I can't wait for it to be gone. I can't wait for it all to go away, and I can't wait for people to start new startups, whether it's radio or business. Like this whole Hyperloop thing is crowdfunded. They're raising money on the internet for people to build this Hyperloop from Los Angeles to San Francisco, where it's going to take you 35 minutes in this Hyperloop. Well, people can become a part of these bigger things than themselves, and for people to donate to us because strictly they're not getting any sort of physical product. We have a store for that, but we have just their desire to want to help us get more knowledge out and learn from the guests that we have on the show. It becomes this whole community, and we can all help each other. And I think it's just the way. Well, I think we're meant to take care of it. And I love that because the GoFundMe campaigns and things, like we've known people who have had GoFundMe set up in honor, or not even honor, in hopes of helping them with their costs for their diseases and even hospital stays and things. But it's really encouraging to see almost people giving insurance the middle finger a little bit by saying, we're going to group together. We may only have $1 each, but if enough people spread it out, like get it out on Facebook, get it out on all these different social media things that didn't even exist anymore. If everyone only had $1, but you had 500,000 people give $1, wow, we just raised enough for that person to get what they need to be able to survive. Like, I love people's hearts. I think that it's exciting to watch this old paradigm shift, like you were saying. I agree.
Get rid of that and bring in the new. Let's watch people band together and like support people. Let's crowdfund. Let's go fund me. Let's like get back to like, isn't that what people would do? People would crowd around each other and not watch someone needlessly suffer and not be able to get the care they need because they don't have the right insurance plan.
Come on.
That's
so
old school. It's not working, people.
It's
like
dying.
Yeah. I just love it. I get fired up when I see people like, I get so excited to watch people's GoFundMe just like soar.
Yeah.
Whatever it is they're dealing with, it's just people's hearts. I do. It cool? You know, and unfortunately, like anything, it can be used in a wrong way and people can take advantage of it and get funds that aren't, you know, necessarily allotted for the specific thing. But in general, my heart is just so warm. I get so excited watching what's happening with all people banding together, becoming a crowd that wants to change things. And that's all that matters. It's cool. It's really, really cool. I get such a charge out of that because I love it. That's where the true power is in our society and our culture, is coming together under a common goal or a common shared ideas about things. And like, speaking of right now, I want to say thank you to Stefania, who donated $10 to us. Oh, she's awesome. Jonathan Heads, who donated $5. Michael Leverich, Lusa Wustenberg. Oh, yeah. Joseph Thornton, James Enterprise, and Elliot Jolson. These are all people that have donated $5 and $10. Heidi Lehman, Larry Thiessen, who bought a sauna from us. Silly Bird. Yep. Elizabeth Moyers donated $1. That's huge. You know, if everyone did that to not just Extreme Health Radio, but to other people you like on Facebook, if you see them, or our friend Karen Rich, like, people have just been really great. I think it's really important to and I think that what happens is people donate to certain people or entities and they think it's just sort of meaningless, or it's not enough, so it's not going to make a difference, or they don't see the reaction because you're not in person handing them an actual dollar bill. Because if I could, I would just hug every one of these people. I know. You know, for believing in us. I know. It's freaking awesome. You know? Free hugs coming your way if we ever meet you guys in person. .com. Okay, this is good. One of my Q&A questions coming up, by the way, we'll answer this because it was great. Somebody wrote in and said that they remembered that I had said on an older show that I'd given up magazine subscriptions. Oh, right. And that I only embraced the ones that were really, truly, like, I ditched the fluffy ones, basically. Right. That were all home and garden and things that I generally like, but it's just a waste of my money because I want to focus on things that are changing me and growing me and encouraging me. And so I will answer that on my Q&A about which ones I have invested in and which ones I've let go. But my mom, however, subscribes to Country Living. And for being a California girl, it's very bizarre how much I love country type things. So anyway, when she's done... In a past life, you must have been a country girl. I think I was a country singer. She passes them off to me, and so yesterday I had this one to look at. hadn't looked at a fluffy magazine in like probably over a year.
I know, right?
But it's great. 5 pages into it, there's this ad here for Prevnar 13. Ever heard of Prevnar?
I did. I heard about it yesterday.
Well, it's now recommended by the CDC for adults 65 plus. Says, what if one push-up could help protect you from heart disease?
Uh-oh.
Wishful thinking, right? But there is one step that can help protect you from another serious disease. I don't even know how to say this. Pneumococcal pneumonia. I might be saying that wrong, but the Prevnar 13 vaccine.
Oh, that's problem, reaction, solution.
Over age 50, pretty much.
The old Hegelian dialectic.
It's true, right?
Yep.
Your risk of getting this pneumonia, whatever this is called, is higher. It's a serious disease that could put you in the hospital. Okay, first of all, it's serious that could put you in the hospital. It might not. It might. It doesn't say it will kill you. It just might put you in the hospital.
It could, right?
Who wrote that?
And
it's a serious disease that could put you in the hospital.
Well, gosh.
It doesn't say how quick you might get out or if you're going to end up there.
How serious is it?
How serious it is.
Is it serious for people that are 90 years old or 20 years old? Come on.
Symptoms include coughing, fever, chest pain, and difficulty breathing. That sounds nice.
I love that.
1 dose of Prevnar 13 vaccine can help protect you. Even if you've already been vaccinated with another pneumonia vaccine, Prevnar, which is, by the way, capitalized, Prevnar 13, very capitalized, may help provide additional protection. The effectiveness of Prevnar 13 when given less than 5 years after another pneumonia vaccine has not been studied. Ask your healthcare provider if Prevnar 13 is right for you.
Just give away all your power because your healthcare provider is going to be the one that's going to be able to answer these questions for you.
Isn't that scary?
Just give away all your power.
All right.
And I love how it says it could help you. It doesn't say it will.
It could, and it could put you in the hospital. And then it says Prevnar 13 is not 100% effective and will only help protect against the 13 strains included in the vaccine. Getting 13 things in that vaccine, probably more. Okay, and then it says, this is great too, I love this, all the side effects. In adults, the common side effects were pain, redness, and swelling of the injection site, limitation of arm movement, fatigue, headache, muscle pain, joint pain, decreased appetite, chills, or rash. I just don't know. Prevnar 13, there you go, folks.
Unbelievable.
New stuff coming up all the time.
There's an assault on our minds in the modern culture today, and especially in the media, and it's coming at us from every possible source point, magazines and books and subtle little innuendos in movies, subtle little underhanded comments in sitcoms, commercials, banner advertising that you see on the sides of buses, everywhere. It's everywhere, this subtle programming telling you what's normal, what you should and shouldn't think about, where your true power lies. Ask your healthcare practitioner. This stuff is pervasive, and that's why people, us included, need to check out of all of that if you really want to get your mind back.
Yeah. And
you really want to start thinking your own thoughts for the first time in your life and figure out who the hell you are.
It takes guts.
It does, dude.
You have to dig down so deep and find those guts if you don't even think you have them. And develop guts if you don't have them, and then charge it. That's the only way things are going to change for you. Because
people, what they're going to do is they're going to be afraid, so they're going to put a label on you and then start attributing certain characteristics to that label, and then start making fun of that label, and then you're that label, and then you're being made fun of in a public way. And it's time that we take a stand, I think, and wake up.
I agree. David Icke, Human Race. What is it? Human Race, Get Off Your Knees.
Get Off Your Knees.
It's a great podcast.
Yeah. Whoa. Pretty crazy, huh?
Well, this is weird. My laptop, I think it's spying on me.
Is it?
I'm on Yahoo News, and all of a sudden a flash came up out of my camera that's not even on, and then the little, what do you call that thing that spins when it refreshes your thing happened, and now it's just blank. That was creepy. They just take my picture. Wow. Creepy.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about
I want to talk about next show about the 23andMe.
There's some interesting things going on with 23andMe. If you guys aren't aware of this test, it's a genetic genomic tests that they can do
for mutations and things.
To
find out what's going on with people.
And we found out some really interesting information about 23andMe that I think we're going to share on our next Friday show.
I'm not saying I'm not going to do it. I'm glad I stumbled across a particular article about it. So.
And I want to talk about our book that I just wrapped up called Past Lives, Present Miracles.
Nice.
Interesting read. And Kate, you're reading a couple books right now that you, I think, want to share about too.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about meditation.
Oh, yeah. I had a trippy meditation last week.
You had a pretty interesting experience with your meditation practice. Wow. And I've been doing it every single day along with Qigong that I wanted to share with you some of my recent feelings about that. What's going on?
The flash just went off again.
Did it?
It's like I don't even have my camera on, and the thing's just like flashing. It's like Yahoo's like spying on people.
You know, I put a little thing in. I have we just bought a webcam on Amazon.
Can I have your card over there? I'm going to put it over the side.
What's that?
Can I have your card? I'm going to flip it over I'm going to drape it over this. It's creeping me out. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, I put
That's
a little.
Creepy.
I folded a business card and put it over the top of my camera.
I can see why.
Who knows who's? There's been rumors of people.
Good luck, Yahoo, reading the inside of that card that says to lift your spirits. Wishing you a great day. Love, Kate.
Yeah, right? I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's like, Dear Yahoo, this is a note. I'm protecting myself. Peace out.
Can they hijack our webcams and watch us and do whatever?
Well, I find it interesting that I'm reading this brand new article came up while we were talking about how they're taking down the last Confederate flag in Columbia, in South Carolina, where the shootings happened this week at that church last week. And it's probably pretty controversial, and it's probably kind of big news, and I'm wondering if it has to do with these, I don't know. Every time that something happens like this, you become suspect of why it happens before a big thing like their planned Jade Helm takeover or whatever their exercises they have going on.
Well, they just wrapped up the Bilderberg meetings. And by the way, Donald Trump announced he's
running for president.
He's running for president just weeks after the Bilderberg meetings.
Oh, gosh.
Any connection? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. Interesting timing, though.
Right?
You got to be logical about these things.
Well, I find it strange that I've been on Yahoo News probably thousands of times in my life, and I've never seen a camera flash twice at me while I'm reading an article.
Did it take a picture or something?
It looks like it took a picture. It was like this poop, and like when your camera lights up when you're about to go on like a Google Hangout with somebody, but this one was like a very quick flash, like someone took a picture twice.
Whoa.
I don't know. I think it's creepy.
Maybe it's...
if anyone else has that happen when they're on the news, will you send me an email? I'm very curious.
Maybe it was Obama wanted to know what's going on with you.
I'm sure he cares about me.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah, so we got some things to talk about next week, too. And you had a really interesting connection with... after you floated the last time.
I did have a very interesting...
You had a really interesting sort of insight after your sensory deprivation tank experience. But we're going to wrap up the show real quick, but I wanted to share a couple, two things. Our featured Amazon order.
Oh, yeah. Do we have like the funny one of the day?
No, they're not really funny. Interesting.
The most interesting? Okay.
Amazon. Thank you, by the way, to you guys who purchase... who use our Amazon link and bookmark it, and then use the bookmark every time you purchase on Amazon. That helps us a lot. It's tremendous help to us. And every time you make a purchase on Amazon there, it doesn't necessarily have to be anything about health, because people buy,
garden gnomes.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff on there. And every time you do that through our link, or if you bookmark it and you use a bookmark it helps us.
Yeah.
Cool book. It sounds interesting. Someone bought, Can You Say a Few Words? How to Prepare and Deliver a Speech for Any Special Occasion.
Nice.
Public speaking.
Wow.
Right? Nothing wrong with that.
I could read that.
Someone also bought your book, too. We'll put a link to it. The Woman Who Runs with Wolves.
Oh, yes.
It's a good
Women
book.
Who Run with the Wolves.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
And did you know you can buy non-GMO popcorn, organic, kosher, gluten-free on Amazon?
Now I do.
Someone bought it. 6-pound bag.
Wow.
Pretty cool, right?
I'd love to get that for my family. My mom inhales popcorn like it's...
Does she really?
Oh my gosh.
Does she really?
Yes. My mom and her popcorn. It's just quite terrifying, so that makes me happy to know.
No wonder why she has IBS.
I know, right?
Because popcorn is very, very damaging to the villi of your intestine.
Oh, my mother! I'd just love for her to know there's another option. If you're so addicted to popcorn or anything, you can't give it up. At least do a better version of it.
Does she just buy the regular bags and put it in the microwave?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then at Disneyland,
what happened?
She'll like eat it at like 9 a.m, just like, ooh, that smell of popcorn. Disneyland's creepy. They like pump these, smells up through Main Street and try to get you to buy a waffle cone when you weren't even thinking about a waffle cone.
Programming.
But yeah, it's this creepy, yellow color. I mean, it's Frankenfood, like Meridian Grace, who's been a guest on our show, calls it. It's like Frankencorn. It's not even like, what kind of corn? What is this stuff?
Genetically modified.
I can't believe it's even a corn product. It doesn't even resemble corn.
Genetically modified, spliced with God knows what sort of animal and insect genes, and then sprayed
with fake butter.
Sprayed to Kingdom Come with pesticides and herbicides, and then put in a microwave, and then put on with butter that's coming from sick cows that can't even stand up, filled with hormones and chemicals. And
then just like completely like flooded with table salt. Wow. It just bums me out.
So she eats that a lot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she loves her popcorn. So what is this again? It's non-GMO.
Non-GMO popcorn, organic, kosher, gluten-free.
That's amazing.
You could put some nice Celtic sea salt on that, Himalayan rock salt, some pink salt.
Yum.
That's got all the minerals, and you could do some grass-fed raw butter that you can get locally, maybe from your farm or people that you know, or you can get organic pastures. We'll put a link to the raw butter that we get. You can buy it online, organic pastures, and man, that would be, every now and then that could be a healthy little treat if your stomach is good.
If you don't have problems with corn, right? Major allergies. Hey, well, that's pretty cool.
But someone bought the woman who runs with the wolves, so maybe they were influenced by you.
Maybe while they're eating their popcorn.
I know, right?
That'd be a good.
Should I read?
That's a great book.
One more email from Heidi. Should I read it?
Sure.
Okay, then we'll log off.
Okay.
Thanks for having your show, Justin and Kate. I've been made aware of so much since listening to your show. I'm grateful that you are so awake and aware for your age.
Oh.
I'm 54 and have been waking up slowly for several years. I'm a registered nurse and work for the Nazi Germany shithole Kaiser for the last 33 years. They are corrupt as the day is long.
Oh, gosh.
They push drugs and vaccines like candy. The things I could tell you about that evil place. I'm forced to wear a mask for 4 months out of the year due to my refusal of the toxic flu vaccine.
Hey, you didn't read her last name, by the way, did you?
No.
I don't want her getting fired.
I know, right?
Somebody listening is like, well, there goes her job.
She just called our place a shithole. 2 weeks.
And compared it to Nazi Germany. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
All vaccines are garbage. The rabbit hole goes very deep, and I feel Kaiser is connected with the CDC, the pharmaceutical cartel, and whatever other tunneling is going on. Kaiser is in no way the benign HMO they present themselves to be with those radio and TV commercials. I see Kaiser like I see a Walmart. In fact, I call it Kaiser Mart.
I love this lady.
She just is like... Man, she should start like some sort of anonymous YouTube channel or something.
Yeah.
I take
Heidi's
care
Rant.
Heidi'sRant.com.
That'd be awesome.
I take care of patients who are mostly overweight of 300, 400, 500, and sometimes 600 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
I open the door to the waiting room and see a sea of poor health. I triage patients and I take every opportunity to let them know of other healing modalities. I promote and display healthy resources on the desk and will circulate it in the waiting rooms. I have been reprimanded in the past for doing that. Can you believe that?
Go her.
She's been reprimanded for trying to make people healthier.
But go her.
That's awesome.
I view it being like somebody of a different religion going into someone else's church and like handing them tracts to their church. That's amazing.
That'd be like an atheist going into a Christian church.
Yeah.
Become an atheist.
Yeah.
It's better.
That's awesome. Okay, good for her.
I've learned some discretion and discernment and try to fly a bit under the radar. I'm healthier than the entire staff I work with. I'm healthier than the entire staff facility I work at of a few hundred people, and this is pathetic. I'm always trying to wake up my coworkers. Sometimes they hear me. The patients who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear are in the shock that someone like me works for Kaiser. They are so grateful and tell me that God meant for me to see them. They tell me I'm their angel, and that makes it worth it. That makes it worth it to work in such a shithole. I love the use of language. I've had the good fortune to be in the company of some brilliant minds. A few of the sayings I like to borrow are, your health is your wealth. One needs to change what is between the ears. Garbage in, garbage out. 80% of your health is in your gut. You are what you eat, and flip the script. I've enclosed a couple pictures so you can put a face to your listener. Take care in the best way possible and know that you are immensely appreciated. Hugs, Heidi. So that kind of, we get about 98% of that.
Yeah.
And then...
that makes you feel pretty darn good.
That's good.
I love her. She is a fireball. I love her. You know what I love? I love that there's people on the front lines under the radar. Like, the thing is, it's like with a lot of these, again, we didn't get to really talk about it today, but with this Jade Helm operation probably going to be going on in our area and a bunch of other states. I think there's like 9 states that these, quote, exercises are going to be.
Do we have a link for that on the show notes?
No, I should put that. Okay. Jade Helm. It's kind of creepy. I know you've mentioned it a few shows back, but it makes you kind of want to bury your head in the sand because you're like, it's too scary to deal with, or it's too overwhelming, or it's too whatever. But like, thank God that people don't run away, because she's not like giving up. So often we hear about these stories in the system, we get so fed up and we're like, screw everybody, like, who cares? Hospitals are evil, doctors are, and we don't really think that, because, we've always said there are great times for medical care, and there's really caring doctors, and there's people that are trying to do the right thing. But like, thank God that she doesn't quit this job. She's being used and available to spread a good message of hope to people that are in dire situations. She's not quitting her job because she doesn't believe in the system.
Right.
She's trying to change the system. And isn't that where real change happens? Like, she's placed there for a reason, and I say you go. Like, you just keep doing it. And you know what? So you get reprimanded. I think if you believe in something so much, at some point you're not going to care if you even get fired, because...
Right.
She knows what's right, obviously, and she's doing the right thing, and she's willing to just still stay there until it becomes absolutely necessary, or they kick her out.
That's awesome.
Necessary to leave, or they kick her out. And either way, she sounds like a woman who would find another way. She sounds really strong, and
I know.
I love her. She's fiery. Cool?
Yeah, I think the key is believing something so strong and having such strong convictions and moral ideas and opinions about something that you're willing to stand up for the truth, no matter where it is. And believe in what you're doing. I mean, that's like what we're doing. We're going to sell our car in order to make things work, because, I would rather live in my car or go live back at home with our parents, or do whatever it takes that we have to do to make this work. Because when you believe in something so strongly, you'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And she's awesome. She is...
It's a calling. It's the calling versus a choice. You don't have a lot of people have choices. Very few people have a calling. And if you don't answer that call, God will call somebody else. And I think you'll feel like an empty shell person at the end of your life because you didn't answer it. So yeah, we're going to sell our car. We're going to sell our mode of transportation in order to be able to keep things going over here a while,
Yeah. And if you want to support us, you can support us, and that would be a great thing. But when you feel called to do something as a listener, and I'm talking to myself too, that you're willing to do whatever it takes. And if you don't know what your calling is, the quickest way to figure out what your calling is and to be looked at as an individual who is ready at a certain time to be used for something greater is to do the daily work and the discipline of spiritual practices and taking care of yourself, and get into the mindset of doing a meditation, sitting with yourself and being silent, reading books, investing. Like Jim Rohn says, work more on yourself than you do on your career. Work on yourself, and then opportunities will happen because you become someone different. And Heidi has become someone different. She's woken up, she says, over the last 4 years, she's becoming someone different. And maybe in a certain time, she may write a book about her experiences working at Kaiser, like a sort of a tell-all expose. Or she may develop a website, or start a radio program, or develop a TV show. Or maybe it's just to work with people individually. But the reason why she is called to do this work is because she's been doing the internal work herself for a number of years. And once you start working on yourself, then God says, okay, so you are now ready.
Yeah.
You're trained and you're ready to do what I want you to do.
Right. You've been practicing, and now you're the Jedi Master. Go out and fight.
Yeah, now it's time to fight Vader.
Now it's time to go. It all goes back to Star Wars. I mean, let's just admit it. I know what you mean, though. I totally know what you mean. I'm just, all joking aside, it is very...
Kaiser Mart.
It's Kaiser Mart.
I love that.
That's the best.
Heidi, you rock. We
love you, Heidi.
All right, I think we're done, right?
Wow, yeah.
Gosh, almost 2 hours later.
I don't want to offend anyone by saying I have to pee again, so we should wrap it up.
All right, well, it is what it is. We all have to pee. We're all human, unless you're lizard-like.
Unless you're lizard-like. Well,
that's
a whole other talk.
That's a different talk. So this was episode 382. So if you want to grab the show notes. What?
381.
No, this is 382.
Then you've messed up.
Did I?
Mm-hmm. The whole time you've been saying 382, and I had it written as 382? Or you've been saying 381. So what is this, 382?
This is 382.
Ooh, okay.
So
this could cause problems.
Well, you have to listen to the end of the podcast to get the truth.
That's true.
382. So there you go. Always listen to the end of the podcast. So this show was brought to you by Bellicon Rebounders. So if you guys are interested in the Bellicon, check it out.
If you want to bounce your brain out.
.com/Bellicon, BELLICON. Great rebounder. We use it every day. You can check it out and learn more about it there. Highly recommend it. If you want to sign up to our newsletter list and get all of our great information, never miss a show, text Get Healthy to 33444. You can sign up and get some great bonuses just for signing up. We have those available for you. If you want to write for our website, there's places on our website for you to do that.
If you have a question for our new Q&A, please record. What do they hit? The Ask a Question button?
There's a Ask. I think it says Q&A shows.
Perfect.
And if you share our stuff on Facebook, we will read your name out. So make sure to do that. And if you support us on Patreon, we will thank you personally on the air. And we appreciate everyone who's done that. Is that it?
I think that's it. That was really fun.
That was awesome.
Love you guys. Thanks for everything, and you guys make it worth it. It's a blast.
It's weird not doing a live show, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun,
everyone.
Though.
Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey, everybody. This is Josie, Justin's mum. Don't tell him, but I know he would absolutely be really happy if you would sign up to his free weekly newsletter. And don't forget to share this with all your friends. This is the buzzing bumblebee signing off.
That's so good.
Hello.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind.